May 22nd. Ian Cameron, Connor Mack, ready to break down the baseball board. Happy you could join us on a Saturday. And again, there's not a lot of baseball shows on the weekends compared to weekdays, breaking down every game like this. So nobody does it but us in that department. So looking forward to breaking down the card. I believe we had a sweep of best bets yesterday. Brewers, Reds over for me. Got there with room to spare. Oakland for Connor Mack at that even money price, which turned out to be just insane. As the Athletics basically cruise from the middle part of the game onward to take care of business. Another bad start from Quintana. What else is new? So good stuff yesterday on the Friday card. Let's get to it. We've got the White Sox and the New York Yankees to get it going. Dylan Cease and Garrett Cole on the mound. We've got the Yankees minus 200 to minus 205 home favorites. Total 7.5 shaded to the over in this game. This is one of those days where the tides are turning in the weather department in the Northeast. It is going to be a day littered with temperatures in the 80s, hot summer conditions, and a lot of wind potentially blowing out in some of these venues as well. And we're seeing that here at Yankee Stadium. Going to be 86 degrees Fahrenheit, which is extremely mild for late May at Yankee Stadium, and a slight wind blowing out to right field. And that explains why, even though these are two pretty damn good pitchers, seen nothing but over money. It was 7.5 is what you're seeing. And now you're even seeing 8 starting to pop up. So there's a lot of people betting this over with the White Sox and Yankees. I wouldn't talk you out of it. I will say this. Garrett Cole's looked human the last couple of starts, especially last time out against light-hitting Texas. He gives up 5 runs in that game. So a little bit of a not Garrett Cole-like outing, I guess you could say, for him against Texas. And look, the White Sox, some of them have had success against Cole. Jose Abreu, 3 for 6 and a home run. Adam Eaton, 2 for 7 and a home run. Tim Anderson, 1 for 2. Again, limited sample size, but he's hit him pretty 1 for 2 in 2 at-bats against him. So the White Sox, a couple of guys have done some damage against Cole. Dylan Cease continues to pitch well for the most part for the White Sox. He's had a nice season overall for them. Entering this game with a 2.41 ERA, he's given up no fewer than 3 runs, or he's given up fewer than 3 runs, I should say, in each start. 3 runs or fewer, I should say, in each start this season. So that's good news for the White Sox. I took a shot here at the big plus price with Chicago in this game, plus 180, plus 190. I just think you're getting a really quality baseball team. White Sox, of course, 26-17. They actually have a slightly better record than the Yankees. And I'm not fearing going against Garrett Cole. He was not good in his last start by his standards against Texas. And a couple White Sox have hit him. Yes, a Cheshire Cat. Yes, Abreu is batting 4th in the White Sox lineup today. Tony La Russa is a moron if he doesn't have Jose Abreu in the lineup today. Simple as that, with a 3 for 6 track record against Garrett Cole. So good to see that for sure. I think we have a live dog here at this price. It's based. This is a price play for me. It's just, to me, that price, and I think a closer game than the odds indicate. And the White Sox have a puncher's chance here. Look, it was 2-1 last night. I think it's a close game. The values with the White Sox. I think Garrett Cole is beatable for this team today. Connor, what do you think? White Sox, Yankees.
I'm in total agreement. I think this is just pure value here. You're getting Cease. He's pitched well, 2-0, 4.1 ERA. White Sox couldn't get it done off Montgomery. Didn't do anything last night. So maybe you think, and there's some guys like you just talked about, Abreu, 3 for 6 with a homer, a few guys, Anderson, that have had success off Cole. And they're pricing Cole because he's still he's 5-2, 2 ERA, a dominant pitcher. But he can give up the long ball, and he just had that bad outing against the Rangers. I'm with you. Full games, plus 185. I know you're bringing in, that's the Yankees bullpen, but you're getting 5 more. I mean, on first 5 is plus 190. Maybe they can get a few off Cole. And so I don't know. I'm still waiting here, but I'm thinking just first 5, just plus 190. I'm getting a little bit better number than the full game. I'll cut that Yankees bullpen out, see if I can jump on Cole for a few runs. So I'm with you. I think the value's on Cease. And the total, the over, I don't know. Yankees haven't hit much lately. Won a lot of games, 2-0, 2-0, 2-1 last night. But like you said, it is blowing out. Maybe we do see a little bit more runs today. I'm just going to stay off the total.
Yeah, this is one total. Like you can't just bet it over because of the wind conditions and the
Yeah.
temperatures. It doesn't always work that way. It's not like every game is going to go over the total because it's a hot day and the wind's blowing out. It doesn't always work that way. And this is one of those
Yeah,
games
no
I'm just
shit.
pumping the brakes
Yeah.
on the total here with this. But the one thing about Garrett Cole is he does give up the odd home runs, so keep that in mind. And yeah, I took the full game here, not the first five, just because the White Sox bullpen can stand toe to toe with the Yankees. The White Sox do have one of the better bullpens in baseball. So I just think it's a live dog situation here. It's just too big of a price in this one. Next up, we've got the Arizona Diamondbacks and Colorado Rockies, Bumgarner and Senzatella. The pitching matchup here in this one, we've got the Colorado or Arizona minus 115, slight road favorites, 11 the total in this one. Not really a fan of either of these pitchers, although Bumgarner has been capable at times this year, 4.15 ERA. Can't say the same about Senzatella, 5.18 ERA for him coming into this matchup and this start against the Diamondbacks. We've got an early start here at Coors Field today. You look at the track record of the Diamondbacks against Senzatella, pretty damn good for the Arizona hitters. I mean, Ketel Marte, 10 for 23, 435 average, incredible numbers. Nick Ahmed, 9 for 23, 391 average. There's been some damage done here. Josh Rojas, Josh Van Meter, Tim LaCastro, Stephen Vogt. Lots of sticks against Senzatella have done damage, and they have had success. I think it's a little bit more of a wild card what you get from Bumgarner. There's going to be some times where he pitches extremely well, keeps the team in a baseball game. And then there's other times where he can get absolutely rocked. When it comes to Senzatella, by the way, 5.45 ERA, 11 career starts against the Diamondbacks, 5.81 ERA against Arizona here at Coors Field. So definitely not great by any stretch of the imagination. 4.77 ERA for Bumgarner lifetime here at Coors Field in Colorado. So not great by any stretch of the imagination. Should see runs, but again, with these two lineups that can be and Arizona's still trying to work their way back to a fully healthy lineup. I just don't know if I want to attack an over with a total this high. So lean over, and I lean Arizona in some form. I do think they probably find the win here, but don't love either side or total. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, a difficult one for me that was kind of a quick pass. Rockies playing a little bit better. D-backs didn't hit yesterday, and now Bumgarner is on the mound, but they got to lay minus 115 with D-backs. I don't think so. I mean, it seems like a good spot. They're getting a little healthier, like you talked about, that they need to break out. They didn't score again yesterday. That's why I wouldn't be taking this over today. I mean, it could get there, but not 11, not today. I just won't do it. It's just tough for me. A team that's scored one run, average one run. I think their last 5 games is minus 115 here. I'd be on the Rockies or nothing, but I just don't love it. So it was just a pass for me.
Houston, Texas here.
Real quick, I just wanted to give and some guys, you mentioned the guys for the D-backs. Charlie Blackmon's got a couple home runs, hitting 340, and Trevor Story has 5 home runs. Jack of the Day candidate off Bumgarner. He's 9 for 43 with 5 home runs. So Jack of the Day, Trevor Story today, maybe a home run.
Yeah, what's amazing? His average is not good against Bumgarner, but he's hit 5 home runs in 45 or 43 at bats against Madison Bumgarner. So yeah, 5 for 43 in the home run department. That's still pretty good percentage given the price you get with the home run prop. So yeah, Story definitely a potential to be a solid way to look in terms of a Jack of the Day candidate today. Houston, Texas. We've got Lance McCullers and Jordan Lyles on the mound in this one. The price here has Houston minus 170, road favorites, total 9 in this one. This is another one where we could see runs. I'm not buying into Lyles one bit. I know he cobbled his way through a decent start in his last outing against the Yankees. I don't know if he can continue that. He does have a 3.38 ERA in his last 3 starts, 1 run in that start against the Yankees. I'm still not exactly sold on him shutting down a very potent and a very strong Houston lineup at the moment. McCullers has been great. I mean, 2-0, 1.64 ERA his last 5 starts, and he's second in the American League in opponent batting average. So he's doing something right. I know Connor's not too fond of Lance McCullers, but right now he's pitching well. So right now, this for me is either you bet Houston team total, Houston first 5 innings, maybe laying a half a run. That's certainly an option. You can get that at a lower price, -120, -130 with that. Laying the half a run. I think that's probably the one I like. Houston laying a half a run here, minus a half, -130. There are some things that point to the over potentially because McCullers is in line for regression, but can Texas be the lineup to hit him? I definitely think Houston's hitting Lyles and this Texas bullpen. It's a question of what can you get from Texas today. But Houston first 5 laying a half makes some sense to me. What do you think, C-Mac?
That makes some sense to me too. McCullers has pitched pretty good this year and pretty good against the Rangers. He just pitched against them last week because we talked about Gibson just yesterday when he pitched. I'd lean with them first 5, and I'd lean a bit over. McCullers is kind of like a Steven Matz for me. If I take it, I know I just got to back off. But I agree with you. It's a game I'm not going to take. Rangers played well yesterday. I think I like the over here a little bit better. Lyles should get hit. I mean, he's just a perfect candidate. Few guys got homers off him, decent average. They not a full 10 at bats, but 2 for 7, 3 for 7, 3 for 5, yada yada yada. Altuve, Bregman have home runs. So I think we see runs as well. So I lean Astros, half a run. Full games, -115. Don't really love it. I always talk about how I want plus money with my run line. So maybe an Astros team total as well in this one. And one other guy, Jack Day. We talked about him last week off McCullers. He's 7 for 22. He didn't hit a jack. Maybe today, Chris Davis, 7 for 22 with a couple homers or a prop.
Yeah. And we know with Chris Davis, it's usually a strikeout or a home run. There's very little in between with him. So maybe it's the home run variety for him in this game today. Baltimore and Washington here. We've got the Maryland, D.C. rivalry here, interleague action. Bruce Zimmerman and John Lester. We got a southpaw battle in this game. Right now, we've got in this one, Washington currently around a -150 home favorite, total 9, shaded to the over. This definitely is an over bet for me in this game. Washington does torch lefties pretty good. We know they've done that the last couple of seasons, and Bruce Zimmerman is absolutely no great shakes, 4.79 ERA. Now, the Nationals lineup's been up and down, hit or miss. We'll have to see who's in the lineup. Victor Robles has had some injury issues. Juan Soto's been in and out, but they should have most of their bigger hitters today. I'm looking at their projected lineup. Turner, Soto, Zimmerman, Castro, Schwarber, Harrison, Gomes, Robles. So I think most of those bats will be in there for Washington today. I gave John Lester a chance the last game against the Cubs, who hit lefties pretty good, and he struggled in that game. 3.8 ERA. And look, Baltimore's a little bit better against the lefty pitchers as well from a lineup standpoint. So I think a good matchup for these two lineups. Both, I think, can do some damage in this game. The bullpens, actually, Washington's hasn't been that bad. Baltimore's isn't really all that good. I think, and again, talk about this is another one of those Northeast U.S., Midwest U.S. cities today where it's warm weather, hot weather, 80 degrees. Ball's going to carry a little bit more. The weather warm. In terms of the wind, let me see. It looks like it is a slightly out. The wind in this game, it looks like, or left to right, actually, in this game, Baltimore and Washington. But still, warm weather, 2 shaky starters. I think 2 lineups that match up well against these starters because, again, teams that are a little bit more superior against lefties than righties. So give me over 9 here, Orioles and Nats. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the lean towards the over here a little bit. Zimmerman hasn't been good at all. 2 and 3, almost a 5 ERA. Lester was pitching well. He's kind of coming back, I think, to where he'll be 0-2, 3.8 ERA. I lean to runs. The Orioles, if you think their team total can get to Lester, they hit lefties a little bit better. This is when I kind of like to play the Orioles. It's tough with Zimmerman on the mound. Maybe if somebody else was, I kind of like them at this price, plus 140, or maybe a first 5. I still lean that way. Though, give me the Orioles here. I lean with them first 5 a little bit. Their team total over 4.5 is plus 125. The Nats, maybe you'd look to a 5.5 if you really think they're going to score off Zimmerman, because the 4.5 is minus 140 what I'm looking at. So maybe you could find over 5.5 with plus money with the Nats if you think they're going to score today.
Yeah, and yes, definitely. That is a good point in the chat from Jerry. You're right. When you look at this Baltimore lineup, Mullins has been good. Hayes has been actually Hayes has given them some good at home runs as well this season. Mancini is starting to get it going a little bit at the plate. There's things to like, but more than anything, getting Anthony Santander back in the lineup today is big. He's a good hitter. So it's going to be it's good for the Orioles to be getting him back in the lineup, no question. He was actually pretty good for them last year at the plate. So Anthony Santander back in the lineup, good news for the Orioles. Minnesota and Cleveland, Kenta Maeda, Shane Bieber, the pitching matchup here in this one. We've got right now Cleveland favored around minus 160, pretty much across the board. Home favorites, total 7.5 shaded to the over in this one. This is a total that is 7.5 because these are two perceived aces on the mound, right? Everybody sees Maeda and the season he had last year for the Twins, and Bieber and what he's done in the last couple seasons. These are aces. These are dominant pitchers. Not right now they are. Bieber's been hittable. Bieber has not been lights out. Bieber has not been shut down by any a shutdown hurler by any stretch of the imagination this season. And that's something you have to keep in mind with where this total is. And then you look at Josh Donaldson, 3 for 8, 2 home runs against Bieber. You look at Simmons has hit him a little bit. Miguel Sano, 6 for 23 and a home run against him. So a couple guys have hit Bieber in the past. And then you look on the flip side, and Kenta Maeda ain't pitching like an ace right now either. Not even close for the Minnesota Twins. We've talked about him multiple occasions. He's struggling. A 5.26 ERA for him. He has not been dominant. He's been dealing with groin tightness, and yet he's still being thrown out there every 5 days. That's a problem for me. You look at some of these Cleveland bats against Kenta. Cesar Hernandez, 8 for 26, 2 home runs, 308 average. He's hit him pretty hard. Austin Hedges has as well. Maeda not in good form. I'm jumping on an over again here. Over 7.5 with 2 pitchers that are supposed. That's why the total's 7.5. It's because of the names on the mound. Well, they're not pitching like the names on the mound. They're pitching below their standards, both of them right now. Maeda and Bieber. And look, Bieber's been tagged by the home run ball a couple of times this year. And this is another one of those venues today where it's hot. The weather is balmy in Cleveland. The wind's blowing out to right field. It's going to be 80s in terms of degrees Fahrenheit, in the 80s at first pitch. 7.5 looks like a low number here for me. I'm on over 7.5, Twins and Cleveland. Twins got over the total by themselves last night in that game. Conor, what do you think here? Minnesota, Cleveland.
Yeah, kind of sneaky were the Twins yesterday. I just thought the plus price, even with Dobnik on the mound, they were getting that. And it moved throughout the day, almost a plus 125. I had to put a little on them. I didn't think they win, 10-0, but yeah, that was pretty big. This is a difficult one. Bieber's been nothing but good to me on my first 5 under 4 here. It's at even money. But yeah, staring at these lineups, and one guy who's gotten tagged, who hasn't helped a few of my first 5s, has been Maeda. So this one I'm really thinking about. I lean that way. Bieber's on the mound. Of course, everyone always could look at his strikeout. Guy's got 92 Ks so far this year, but Maeda just hasn't been good. Difficult one. You rip through it. Even the Indians got a bunch of guys. Reyes has 3 home runs. Hernandez has 2 home runs off Maeda. And the other side, Donaldson's got a couple off Bieber and a few other guys, Sano. So difficult spot here. I still lean the first 5 under. Maybe I just think these guys are going to pitch, but that when I see that, and I just maybe I'm gonna have to pump the brakes and stay off this one. Maybe there's little value with the Twins. I'm not sure. That team has not played well all year. They got a couple wins here in a row. They beat the Angels, just won yesterday big. Can they beat Bieber? That'd be a big, nice little three game streak here and get a win against Bieber. So maybe plus money on the Twins would take a shot with Maeda.
All right, Detroit and Kansas City, Boyd and Singer on the mound in this one. We've got the Kansas City Royals minus 145, home favorites at Kauffman, 8.5 the total in this game. Another total being hammered up because of the weather and the wind. wind blowing out 11 miles per hour. It's going to be a warm day in Kansas City again. However, Matt Boyd's pitching well, 2.45 ERA. And against Kansas City this year, Connor, with Boyd, 1 run allowed in 14 innings pitched against the Royals. So he has shut down Kansas City's lineup this season. Overall, his numbers against the Royals don't look great. But this season, you got to look at the smaller sample size. 1 run allowed for Boyd in 14 innings pitched against Kansas City. So he's absolutely shut them down. On the flip side, Brady Singer, who I think he's got the potential to be pretty decent in this rotation, be a solid, second or third in the rotation guy for this Royals team. 2.54 ERA for Singer against the Tigers in his career. He's against Detroit when he faced them the last time, only 4. He allowed 7 runs, only 4 earned though. This is a tricky one for me because it says that these two pitchers should, be pretty good here. Makes you think first 5 full game under, some kind of combination. And yet you look at that wind, it's a hard wind blowing out. It's a warm day. And I just don't love at this time of year on the really hot days, a wind blowing out. That's not an under weather game for me. So I'm back and forth on it. Probably not in love with this game either way. Connor, what do you think? Royals and Tigers?
Yeah, me too. You talked about it. Their averages are still really good, but you mentioned how Boyd's pitched so well. That means I think he's due to get hit a little bit. Some of these guys like Merrifield, 25 for 54. He's almost hitting, 460 off Boyd. I think they can get going. They finally hit it. Jack Taylor did. They just got over my team total with the Royals last night. Maybe again, it's similar here. I don't know if I want to go back to it. Can the Royals get 5 again for me? It's minus 108. I kind of lean that way. And I lean the over a little bit as well. Can the Tigers hit though? It's hard to trust them. So I lean over 9, but yeah, probably a game I'm just going to pass here.
Yeah, you know what? This is one of those games that early this morning I bet it over and put it on my card, and it's just because of the wind conditions. It's not like this is not even an average wind. This is like 18 mile per hour blowing out. That's a heavy wind. So even if the ball gets a lazy fly ball could leave the yard in a wind conditions day like that, where it's 18 mile per hour.
Well, you start to get up
out.
20, 18, 20, then you'll start seeing it.
Yeah, that means a routine fly ball on a normal day where there's light wind or wind blowing in, it all of a sudden just right out of the yard. And I worry about that in a weather day like this. Even though Boyd and Singer have been good, I think the weather conditions say I can only look to the over in this game. Pittsburgh and Atlanta, Mitch Keller and Bryce Wilson on the mound here in this one. We've got the Atlanta Braves around that minus 200 home favorite role, total 9.5 across the board. So the Braves apparently failed on the extra point on that third touchdown in the game last night against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Just an absolute shit rocking for the Braves last night over the Pittsburgh Pirates. I feel bad for a good friend of mine and ours, Drew Martin. I think I saw on Twitter before that game started, he was on the Pirates there at the at the plus price last night. At least it was painless, right? At least it was painless when you lose like that.
I've all been there. I've had a game,
You don't have to sweat. Yeah, no sweating involved. Yeah, 20-1 last night in favor of the Atlanta Braves. Wow, just an absolute shit pumping. Unfortunately, is Mitch Keller the guy you want on the mound to try to bounce back from an embarrassment like that? No, he's not. 7.16 ERA this season for Mitch Keller. I don't like Bryce Wilson much either. Bryce Wilson is, like I've said, a ham and egger. He's a fringe arm. He's capable of getting hit. 5.5 ERA is nothing to write home about for him. Here we go again. Wash, rinse, repeat. Like I said, I was on a lot of overs last night on the Friday card because of it being a warmer night in many of these venues, and I'm kind of feeling that same way here. I don't trust Keller. I don't trust Wilson. The bullpens are spent, especially on the Pittsburgh side after last night's game. There's probably going to be some runs in this game. The total's a little higher than I wanted. A lot of these Atlantic totals have been 8.5, 9. You're seeing an adjustment now, 9.5. And look, Atlanta's been an over machine on their home field all season long. And each of the first 2 games of this series have gone over the total. So wash, rinse, repeat. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Another over for me, 9.5. Pittsburgh, Atlanta. C-Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I lean that way too, just because all the overs the Braves been playing at home. And I just sometimes though, after you put up a 20 spot, Giants just did it.
You
I
run
mean,
out of
Bauer's on the mound.
artillery the next day. Yeah.
It just is holding me back. The Braves team totals 5.5. It's plus 110. I'm kind of looking at that, and yeah, the full game. Pirates hopefully could get a few runs off Wilson, but strangely enough, with those sticks, they go cold. Just a tough one. It's just a lean for me. I haven't bet it, but I'd be on the Braves here. Team total probably over 5.5 plus 110. You could do run line even, and I'd lean even full game at 9.5. They've just been first two games went over like you said, but I don't know if I can pull the trigger. Something's got me to get 3 runs today. The Braves going to drive me nuts, and I want to get my team total. So I'm probably going to stay off by lean that.
All right, we've got the Milwaukee Brewers and Cincinnati Reds here. We got the old veteran lefty Brett Anderson for the Brewers, and sunny yesterday. My life was filled with no rain today. It's sunny pretty much everywhere today. We've got Cincinnati here minus 150, home favorites, total 8.5, 9 here in this game. My best bet yesterday was the Brewers and the Reds over the total in that game at Great American Ballpark. And look, let's pat ourselves on the back. I loved it. Conor loved it. Jesse Winker hitting a home run in that game yesterday, and he decided one ain't enough. I'm hitting 2 dingers in this game. I mean, that was just standing out there like a sore thumb, wasn't it? That Jesse Winker Jack of the Day or Bomb of the Day betting recommendation yesterday, and he got it done twice leaving the yard. And look, if you think
he got 3, he got a third.
He did.
Yeah,
he absolutely did. Yeah. By the way, if you think that I'm betting, and I see there's some love for the under in this game, with the way the stats are for these two pitchers, it could, but there's no way in hell on an 85-degree day, wind 10 miles per hour out at this little bandbox Great American Ballpark. There's no way I'm betting an under. There's just absolutely no way. I think even with 2 aces on the mound, I'd be reluctant to do it in a setting like this where it's going to be 85 degrees Fahrenheit, wind blowing straight out to center field as well at 8 miles per hour. That is the ultimate hitter-friendly wind conditions right there. And look, Brett Anderson is not great by any stretch of the imagination. 4.5 ERA. Even Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray is a tightrope walker. He is the ultimate tightrope walker. He's a good pitcher, but every inning it seems he's given up base runners. Every inning it seems like he's, keeping up, getting out of trouble, getting out of jams. Well, all it takes on a day like this with this weather and these temperatures is one missed location pitch and 2 runners on base and a 3-run bomb. Goodbye. And there goes the under. I'm actually on the over here. I am, because I don't really trust either guy. The one thing about Gray is he's given up a little bit of his hard hit contact rate bothers me. It's a little higher than I'd like to see it. And hard hit contact rate on a day like this, warmer weather, wind conditions blowing out, hard hit contact rate sometimes could ordinarily those would be singles and doubles. Well, when the wind's blowing out, they can turn into dingers, and they can turn into home runs that leave the yard. So and again, do we like either bullpen either, especially Cincinnati's? Not good, not trustworthy. So 8.5, I took over the total in this one, Reds and Brewers. And look, Milwaukee's starting to hit a little bit. They've had a terrible season offensively, but slowly but surely with Yelich back, Canes in the lineup, starting to get some offense. Conor, what do you think? Brewers, Reds?
Yeah, yesterday I thought like the over with you and the Reds getting plus money. I thought was a little crazy too there. I just don't love Gray at this big number here. We talked about how the Reds kind of got their ass kicked. I thought they'd play better after that Giants series, and they did. I'd lean towards the Brewers here in this one, getting plus money with Anderson. It's just a difficult spot. It's like you talked about, Sonny Gray, he tight ropes it. He, got a lot of guys on base, and he's either up or down. He still doesn't have a win, 0-3 with almost 4 ERA. He's got good stuff. And yeah, it's getting hotter. It's a nice day. The lineup's pretty good. Both sides can hit. Not overly crazy. Canes, 9 for 21, 3 for 11, 3 for 11, 3 for 11 off Gray. Castellanos is kind of the only guy that owns Anderson. He's 6 for 17 with a homer. Just a difficult one. I lean Brewers. I kind of want to take the first 5 under 5 here, minus 120. So I lean in that way. Maybe runs late, but I'm leaning the first 5, under 5 here, minus 120, and the Brew Crew at plus 135 here. You're muted.
Yeah, I wonder if Brett Anderson has damaged goods a little bit at this point. He's an older guy. He's pitched around for years now. He had a hamstring injury early in the season. Last Saturday, he didn't pitch well. 4 runs, 8 hits, 3.2 innings against Atlanta. And you know what's alarming, Connor? What have we talked about all year with Atlanta? Can't hit lefties. And that was a lefty, and they crushed him. So for Brett Anderson, that's a worry for me going into this game in terms of, that was a team that has been feeble all season long against lefties that roughed him up in his last start. So we'll see if he's capable of bouncing back in these conditions today. I'm not so sure. All right, Mets and Marlins next up on the slate. We've got no pitcher confirmed yet for the Mets, so we're not going to go into too much here. Lopez for the Marlins, 3.12 ERA. He's another one of those Marlins pitchers I like quite a bit, but I don't want to lay minus 150 with them. That's where the price was initially on the Marlins here in this game, 7 the total.
Wow.
I'll tell you what, even though I like Lopez, there's no way. Like, I want Miami in much more reasonable price ranges than that. So this is probably a game I wouldn't be betting anyway. Any thoughts, Connor? Mets, Marlins?
Yeah, me either, especially if Miami's going to be that big a number. I like Lopez. Maybe I'll see who the starter is on the other side. Yesterday it pushed for me. I actually pulled a trigger. That was kind of one of my last games. Looks was the first 5 under 4. Maybe I'll go that way again. I'll see who the other pitcher is. But I don't know if I'll get involved in it. So I'm probably going to stay away.
Yeah, Miami was starting to hit a little bit against Philly, but you're right. Just overall, they can be a little bit sketchy to trust. I do understand that, no question. All right, we got Boston and Philly. Look, I mean, that's when you look back on it, you say, you know what? Should have taken a chance with Boston yesterday. My goodness, we were looking at that price, saying the Red Sox, it's too tall of a price to be given them. It played out that way, 11-3, routed by the Red Sox last night with the Phillies, and now they'll try to bounce back, and they got to do it with Spencer Howard, who, look, I've seen nothing good out of this guy since he's been with the Phillies. He's absolutely abysmal, and he's taken on Nady Eovaldi here. Boston minus 120 favorites here. The total 9. I got to take the Red Sox here. Simple as that. -1. Spencer Howard's brutal. Okay, 8.31 ERA for this Phillies team this season alone. We have not seen really anything all that quality of him in the past. 8.31 ERA, 3 appearances and 4.1 innings. He's never faced the Red Sox. Who cares? Red Sox are a good lineup. It's not like he's going to have any kind of artillery or a weaponry to deceive them, and they're a very good, solid lineup. So this is definitely a pitching edge for Eovaldi. I do like the over a little bit, though, too, because I think Eovaldi can outpitch this guy. It doesn't take much to outpitch Spencer Howard, but he's still not been shut down by any stretch. Eovaldi, 4.5 ERA, over 4 ERA at Citizens Bank Park, which worries you a little bit. And also you look at some track record for some of these hitters against Eovaldi. Harper's 8 for 21 with a home run, 381 average against him. McCutcheon's banged him around pretty good. Gene Segura, 4 for 12, 333 average. So there are some concerning stats here for Eovaldi against some of these Phillies. So yes, I am on Boston, first 5, full game split, but I'm also going to go on the over 8.5 as well. And look, Boston might be able to get 7 or 8 themselves if Howard is as bad as he's often looked for this Phillies team. What do you think, Connor? Boston, Philadelphia?
I'm with you. Phillies just haven't been playing well. Red Sox are hot. You talked about that number yesterday. Maybe the Red Sox first 5, half a run, full game run line if you want a little plus money. But it's pretty good here at -125 if you don't mind that. I think there'll be runs here too. I mean, Howard, this guy's supposed to be their number 1 prospect. For the Phillies, he hasn't done or looked good at all to me. It's pretty rough if he's the organization's number 1 prospect. He's not very good. And he's going to have a limit on his pitch count. It's like 50 or 60. I lean towards the over 9 in this one. It's even money. God, I wish it was 8.5. I'd really like it a little better, but I lean the over 9 here because you just mentioned, I think Harper, there's a few guys that have hit Eovaldi, and he's a 5 innings guy. If he can get through 5, maybe 6 with like 3 runs, it's a pretty good start, quality start for him. So I see some runs here. So give me the over 9 here at even money. Maybe team total too. If you like,
I just want to make sure that I don't like giving out numbers that aren't available because I did say 8.5. See, I bet 8.5 minus 114. Yeah, I was looking at my account.
Oh yeah, you probably did. Okay.
So I bet it early this morning. But there are no 8.5s now. It's 9. So people are agreeing that this game should go over so it is 9 across the board. I don't see 8.5 anywhere. So I did get 8. Thankfully, it's all about timing. That's why sometimes you got to do your work early in the morning. And beat some of these moves. And I figured another warm weather, wind blowing out environment here in Philly, much like most of these cities in the Northeast today. So definitely now the total up to 9. But look, I'll still tell you to bet it over at 9. I mean, at least even if it lands on 9, the worst you can do is push on that number. All right, Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, Alzolay and Miles Mikolas returning for the St. Louis Cardinals tonight in this one. We've got even money pretty much on both sides here in this game. The total 8 shaded to the over in this one. Miles Mikolas ready to make his St. Louis season debut here against the Chicago Cubs. We'll see how he fares. This is his first start in a year. He's been off. He had a shoulder injury, flexor tendon injury, had surgery to repair it. And now here he is finally back on the mound. We haven't seen him in almost 2 full years. We know he had an incredible year back in 2018. He pitched really well, a little bit more up and down the last full season that he pitched, but he's definitely going to be running on adrenaline tonight, Connor. He'll be amped up significantly at a pitch and return to the lineup. And look, he's pitched well against the Cubs. 1.57 ERA for Mikolas against the Chicago Cubs in the past. So he's done quite well against this team. On the flip side, you've got the Cubs sending out Adbert Alzolay on the mound for them, a guy that's had decent starts at times this year. I do see him pitching a little bit better a couple of times in recent starts. What can he do here against the Cardinals is the question. He does have a good track record against them, 2.35 ERA for Alzolay in his career against the Cardinals. I could see this is always another. I'm going to see what the wind conditions are here quickly because, again, St. Louis, I don't think St. Louis is quite as warm. No, it's still pretty warm, 85 degrees Fahrenheit, but the wind's blowing out a little bit, or blowing in, I should say, a little bit north, 4 miles per hour. It's one of those rare instances where we've got actually a wind blowing in. So maybe this is a first 5 under look because Alzolay's done well against the Cardinals in the past. Mikolas has shut down the Cubs in the past. The bullpen for St. Louis is a problem right now, so I wouldn't really want to be dealing with them in the latter innings. They've struggled lately. First, not many unders I like today, but this one I gave some thought to. Cubs, Cardinals, a first 5 under. Again, you're always worried Mikolas hasn't pitched in forever. Is he rusty? Yeah. Is he not on his game? But he's a capable pitcher. He has dominated the Cubs in the past. I'd be more willing to take my chances than not, maybe on a first 5 under. What do you think, C-Mac?
Yeah, me too. He just hasn't pitched in such a long time. It's a game I think I'm going to just lay off. Alzolay's pitched pretty good. He's got to get kind of a third pitch. He's got good stuff and slider at times, but if he's going to be a regular starter for the Cubs, he's got to get a third pitch because he won't last long as a starter that way. He might have to go to the bullpen. And I just don't love it. I got the over yesterday, a lot of late runs. These teams seem to be hitting a bit better lately. Just a difficult one. I'm just going to stay away. This was kind of a quick one. He hasn't pitched yet. I don't love betting Alzolay. He's kind of up and down, so I'm just going to stay off.
All right, next up, we've got the Dodgers and the Giants. Walker Buehler versus we don't know yet for the San Francisco Giants. So not much to say here until we know that. Just in general, Buehler and the Dodgers here, minus 160. Road favorites, total 7 in this game. It would probably be a game I don't bet anyway. Especially with Buehler, you're not going to get a ton of value backing him. But on the flip side, with the Giants not knowing who the starter is, it's more than likely going to be some spot starter out of the bullpen, which isn't very good, by the way, for San Francisco, or someone that's just there to fill a spot and not someone I trust to shut down one of the better lineups in baseball, whoever it is. So maybe a Dodger team total over. Other than that, pass. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, pass for me. Maybe an under. Last night I went with the Giants first 5, and I just had a feeling, and all it took was just 2 runs by the Dodgers, and that lasted the whole game. So I'm going to stay away. But I wanted the under, but it was 3.5. Then it went to 3 at even money, and I was a little leery. It ended up 2-0 after 5, and my first 5 would have cashed. But maybe that here. I don't know who the Giants are pitching. Both teams, I don't know if they hit here today. I'm going to probably stay off.
All right, we got Tampa Bay, Toronto, Shane McClanahan, Robbie Ray. Your pitching matchup here, Toronto minus 120, home favorites at Dunedin, Florida. Not many games left for the Blue Jays at Dunedin, Florida. They're going to be migrating north to Buffalo soon for the rest of the season. The total 9 here pretty much across the board in this one. Actually, 9.5 is where it opened. Now it's down to 9. So we actually have seen some under money come in here. McClanahan throws hard. There's no question. But you know what I'm noticing? And we saw it last night with the Jays when they got to Tyler Glasnow early in that game. The hard-throwing pitchers, I think the Blue Jays do better against them. I honestly believe that. The harder they throw, that's usually good news then for the Jays against those kind of pitchers. I find the soft tossers, the ones that junk it up, are the ones the Jays have a little bit tougher time hitting. So it's not really that bad of a matchup, I think, for the Jays lineup tonight. Against McClanahan, because they seem to hit the hard throwers better. Robbie Ray, look, he continues to be solid. It's been impressive. This is probably one of the best starts to a season he's had since his Arizona days. He's worked on his control, and it's gotten better. He still gives up the odd home run ball, but the Rays have been somewhat paltry against lefty pitching this season in terms of their lineup, and they do strike out a lot, especially against lefties. That is a concern. And guess who's a strikeout type of pitcher? Oh, yeah, Robbie Ray. I kind of like Toronto here. First 5 in full game. I'll probably split between the two with the Blue Jays here. What do you think, C-Mac, Rays, Jays?
Yeah, Rays have been hitting a little bit lately. They still can't hit lefties. And McClanahan, as long as he doesn't blow up, kind of had a bad start his last start. As long as the Jays don't touch him up, I like the first 5 under 5 here. Robbie Ray is just – talk about lefties dominate the Rays, and he's dominated them. They haven't done anything off him. These guys, their averages are horrible here, me going through it. So he's pitched really well against these Rays. Can I get just 4 or 5 out of McClanahan here? I hope so. Jays have been pretty hot. Like you said, yeah, maybe they love hitting these hard throwing guys that throw gas. They're a little harder to hit off those junk ball pitchers. But I see a 5, so I'm kind of going with the mark here. I think the first 5 under 5, minus 115 for me.
All right, we've got the Seattle Mariners and the San Diego Padres, and man alive, you talk about embarrassments. I don't know if you could lose worse than the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Seattle Mariners did last night. Both of them get absolutely whitewashed. This Seattle team is a hell no right now. Ski profit, hell no for me. In terms of betting them right now. Seattle has fallen apart and fallen off a cliff the way we thought they would. We knew they got off to that shocking, surprising start, and I'm like, Seattle's not keeping this up. And now they're falling back to the team we thought they would be. San Diego minus 2 are big favorites here. Looks like minus 215. Home favorites total 7.5 here across the board. And Justice Sheffield's been inconsistent up and down. He's got good stuff, but he's not consistent one game to the next. 4.62 ERA, over 6 ERA on the road this year. So away from Seattle, he's had a tough time. On the other side, Weathers for San Diego. Weathers has been decent. I think Weathers is still back of the rotation kind of guy. But still, you got to give him credit. He's had a decent start to the season for the Padres. And it's not like Seattle and their offense is clicking right now. So probably a game I stay off. It's just a big price delay, but I want no part of Seattle. Maybe a San Diego team total over. I'd throw that out there as a lean. What do you think, Connor? Mariners, Padres?
That was kind of my only look. I just, again, score a ton of runs. I don't love it, but yeah, over 4.5 Padres, minus 105. Probably be my look here in this game. I don't want to lay 200 with Weathers. Padres sticks have been better as of late. Then they kind of, like you had it, they put a 2 spot up against the Rockies. just leery here about that in this game. So I'm going to stay away. But if you like the pods, think they're hitting, maybe the team total, like I said, over 4.5, and the run line, it's at even money if you really like the Padres here.
All right, final game, Oakland Athletics, LA Angels, Chris Bassett. And again, we don't know who the starter yet is for the LA Angels tonight. Oakland right now, minus 135, total 9. I'm on Oakland probably, even with and I'm not a big Bassett guy. I am not, he's not one of my favorite pitchers, especially away from Oakland. But the Angels, without Trout, you see what's happening. They're having a tough time. Now, there are a couple bats that have hit. Bassett, Upton, 4 for 10, Fletcher, 5 for 12, Rendon, 2 for 6. So those are concerning a little bit, but Oakland definitely is the team that's in a much better way right now. There's no question. We both liked them last night. Again, I'll wait to see who's on the mound for the Angels. I don't think it's going to matter either way. I'd be very surprised if I'm not backing Oakland here in this game. Even like Bassett, I'm not, but he's 3.88 ERA. This Angels lineup's been scuffling and struggling without Trout. On the road, though, I still think he can do enough to lead Oakland to victory and probably be on the A's again, regardless of who's on the mound for the Angels. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, it might be Sandoval too, but I don't know if that's for sure. But A's again, I think. They came through big last night. I think they will again. You won't get as good a number, I don't think, maybe. But I thought kind of that run line we talked about last night at 150 was good, and they got there last night. Team total, everything. That Angels bullpen's bad, and I always bank on that. Not only their starting pitching is not very good towards the bottom, but that bullpen's horrible. So go full game with the A's here. Team total, we got to check the line. They'll probably be favored. I'm not sure, but maybe a run line with the A's as well.
It might be Bundy. It might be Sandoval. We don't know.
Okay.
But Bundy's been dealing with a problem with his foot. And in the last 2 starts, he's given up 13 earned runs. So, like I say, and Sandoval's not great either. If they put him in there, it doesn't matter if it's Bundy, doesn't matter if it's Sandoval, doesn't matter if it's someone off the street. I mean, Oakland's the better team and the price is reasonable. So, like I said, I think he'll be on the Athletics regardless. Great stuff, Connor. That is the Saturday MLB card. Again, we're back in an hour. We'll have a little hour break, and then we're back at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific with our first Saturday NBA closing time show. We'll break down the 4 first-round Game 1 matchups taking place today in the NBA playoffs. So join us 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific for that. We'll get to best bets in just a second. Before we do that, as we always do at this time of the show, 30-second pause for a message from Manscaped. There we go. Manscaped promo code PubSports. Check them out, as well as mybookie.ag, promo code PubSports with NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB. There's UFC usually every week. Lots going on. Mybookie.ag. Check them out. Try them out, especially if you have Bitcoin. It is an accepted currency for your deposit there. Mybookie.ag, promo code PubSports. Let's get to it. Best bets. It was a 2-0 sweep of the board with the best bets for Connor and I last night. See if we can give you an encore in that department. Connor Mack, best bet. What do you like?
My best bet will be there's a lot of games where pitchers we don't know on the other side. But I narrowed it down. You got the good number, but I still love it at 9. It's even money. Give me Red Sox Phillies over 9 here. I think we see runs both sides. So Howard gets out, gets hit, and I think Evaldi. I think the Phillies need to score some runs today. So give me the over 9. Red Sox been hot. Over 9. Also,
there you go.
Let me do my Jack of the day.
Yes.
Well, it's a big show.
Big show, baby. Go. Jack of the day. Here.
All right. Jack of the day.
Trevor Story, 5 home runs. We talked about it earlier. And kind of my secondary one, Reyes, He's got 3 home runs. So give me Reyes with the Indians. He's got 3. Story has 5. 2 guys I think could get a jack today. Jack of the day.
All right, there we go. Good choices there for the home Jack of the day there for Connor Mack. Let me see what I'm going to go with here for first for Jack of the day. Let's see what we're going to take here. Let me just go on down the line. Let's go with even against the mighty Shane Bieber, Josh Donaldson for the Minnesota Twins.
Right.
Risky, but he's got 2 homers and 8 at bats against him. I'll take my chances. You're going to get a great price because it's Bieber. And Bieber, that's the one issue with Bieber. He can't give up the home run ball every now and then. So Josh Donaldson, Minnesota Twins, home run against Shane Bieber in that Minnesota-Cleveland game. As far as best bet goes for me, I'm going to take Baltimore at Washington over 9 minus 120. The Nationals hit lefties. They hit lefties hard. This ain't even a very good lefty for the Orioles today, Bruce Zimmerman. And look, John Lester looked like that old retread hanging on past his prime against the Cubs. That was not a good start for him whatsoever. And I think Baltimore's got some sticks back, including Santander. Mancini's been hitting good. Austin Hayes has had a nice year for them. Mullins at the top of the order, good table setter. There's some problem bats for Lester today. I think both teams get on the board. Orioles, Nats, over 9. That'll be my best bet for this Saturday card. That'll wrap up this edition of the MLB Closing Time Show. We're back in an hour. Connor, myself, and Ski Profit get you ready for the NBA playoffs on this Saturday with the 4 Saturday games. We'll break them down in an hour on the NBA Closing Time Show, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great afternoon, but don't go too far now. The press pregame show for the NBA playoffs is with us coming up 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. NBA Closing Time. We'll see you in an hour for that right here on Pub Sports Radio.